Welcome to the fourth episode in this Python tutorial series. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about more about decision making with the help of condition, which we spoke about in our last tutorial video. So if you look at my VS Code, you see I have a bunch of things written. We have the if, the elif, and the else. So basically, if we want to make conditions, if we want to make decisions, we attach conditions. So let me explain further. Uh, Remember my last tutorial video, we spoke about conditions, whereby we said a condition has only possible two outcomes, which is the true or the false. So making decision with conditional statement, when we're meant to make decision with conditional statement, is either it is true or it is false. So and every conditional statement either returns the true or false. Hence, if our condition is true, then we can make the decision. Else, if it's false, we can make an alternative decision. So, and the syntax which I wrote, the keyword which I wrote on my VS Code are basically, I think, the most basic syntax we should know when making conditional decisions uh, in Python. So, like the syntax for making a decision in Python is like if you have a condition, then a colon, then you have your do whatever it is. And please note, I didn't start from the first line by my left because Python generally is have to do with indentation. Your indent it reads code based on how you indent it. So if you indent improperly, you're not going to get the correct code. So it reads from line 5, then if line 5 is correct, it goes down to the line 6, and based on how you write line 6 is going to read line 6. So let's perform a basic decision using a conditional statement. So we could say, uh, let's say if 6 is greater than or equals to 10, colon, print, let's see, 6 is greater than 10, or sorry, less than, rather, let's, oh, less than, let's change it to less than or equals to, and then we save our code and then we run it. We should get, when we run our code, it should be, so you see it printed out 6 is less than 10. So, and if you want to get an alternative answer, for example, if you say if 6 is greater than 10, greater than or equals to, rather, greater than or equals to, you should print 6 is greater than 10. So basically, if you run this code, let's see what happens. So yeah, we don't see anything happening. Why is that? Because obviously 6 is not greater than or equals to 10. 6 is less than 10. So that's why it's not going to be print out, because our condition is false. Hence why it's not printing out any value. So which brings us to elif. So if we want to use elif, we indent, but then we don't start exactly under print. We start from the top, from the first left side where exactly if is. So we're going to say elif, then your condition elif, you say, yeah, it's also going to be directly under, uh sorry, they're also going to, sorry, we're going to say elif, then we're going to put in our colon. Where you put in a colon, you indent, and then you start exactly where the line says, exactly on that print. You say print, let's see, 6 is less than 10. Yeah, 6 is less than 10. So we have an error. Let's see what can possibly be the error. For 6. uh we could say yes. Basically, the error here, after an else if, we're also meant to put a condition there, which we didn't put, and that's where we're getting an error. So from starting from the line 8, we said if 6 is greater than or equal to 10, print 6 is greater than 10. I remember when we ran our code, it was false, hence why 6 is greater than 10 would not be printed out. So we say else if, we could say 6 is less than or equals to 10, print 6 is less than 10. So now let's run our code and then let's see how it goes. So you see it says 6 is less than 10. Yeah, so that's another way how we could use if, else if. And you could have so many else if in your code. It doesn't really matter how many else if. You could compare a lot of things, but you can only have one else statement. Like for example now, if I, let me make use of the else statement so you can understand it more clearly. We could say since 6 is not less than, or since 6 less than 10 is false, we could say else, then we could say after, you could say else, then we could say print 6 is less than 10. So basically it's also going to be the same thing we did there, but we're using else if. We're using just else rather. Else, you can only have one else, but you can have multiple else if. We could also say else elif, let's say 6 is greater than 15. Then we could say print, let's say 6 is greater than, 6 is less than 16. 6 is less than 15. We could also even say another elif. Then we could also put another condition. We could say let's say 15 less than 10. Basically just it goes on and on and on. We could have multiple else elif, but we can only have one elif in a conditional statement. So now let's do a quick example that let's make use of everything we've learned so far from the first tutorial video. So let's ask the user for, let's say for example, a height to, let's say we want to enter a roller coaster and you need a particular height. If not, you won't be allowed. So let's say let the user enter, let's print in please enter your height. Then the user will enter, let's say height equals to so basically we could make our height a float or an integer. So it all depends on what we want, but let's just make use of an input. Let's make use of an integer. Let's say please enter your height. So we're going to have input, then we now say if height is equals to, let's see, if height is less than 100, sorry, if height is less than 100, then let's say print sorry you can't enter. Then we could also say else if, let's say else if height is greater than or equals to 100, then we could say print wow, whoa, you're tall, you can enter, then else if it's let's say else if it's we can say else, we can say invalid entry. Invalid entry, that is if we print anything that is not according to what we've assigned it, what we want to check. So now let's save our code and run our code. And actually in this code there's an error, but I want to run it and let you see the error. Then I will first of all tell you what the error is, so you better understand, you better understand how to make use of your input keyword in Python. So let's run this code. So we run the code. So you said let's see, okay, so you said please enter your height. Let's see, 50. So you see there's an error, just like what I said. So basically, when we want to use an input, remember I told you that when we use an input, basically everything under an input is going to be converted to a string. So when we put in, remember we put in 50. So now it converted 50 to a string. I know we can't convert a string and an integer. So in order to repair this bug, we could just we could change it to, we could say, let's say int height, and something like this. Then let's run our code, and hopefully this should work now when we run the code. So let's run the code and we get please enter your height. Let's say 70 meters. Then I say sorry, you can't enter. Why? Because 70 is less than 100. So you said 70, sorry, you can't enter. Let's still run it and see what we get if with more than if it's more than 100. So you say please enter your height. We see, let's see, 150 meters. Then enter. Say whoa, you're tall, you can enter. So what happens when we put in anything that is not a number? Let's try putting in like a float, that's a number that's decimal, and let's see how it reacts to this. So let's see, please enter your height. Let's see, 50.0. So we have an error again. Why do you have an error? Because we are checking, we converted, remember we converted a height to integer, hence we have an error. So it will not even run. It will, first of all, because we are checking from the beginning, so it won't even run to even print invalid entry. It will just give us an error. Let's try and see what we get when we're printing a string. So please enter let's say 1. So you still get an error. So basically you will always get an error. I don't even think you're going to reach this else statement because it is not converted to a height. So but we'll put that there just for you to understand that if everything doesn't go as planned, but our data type is correct, it's going to end up printing our else statement. So that's it for this tutorial. Until then, happy coding.